right away, they call me a communist. They call me a socialist. Like, you're not a conservative. You're not MAGA.
That's what people say.
This is another more perfect union banger about the 10% MAGA to Zoran voters and what they were thinking, what was going on in their heads. So we're going to be watching this.
You cannot be that. Time out. You cannot be MAGA and Mamdani. Why not? Why can't you be? To me, it's the most natural thing in the world.
When Zoran Mamdani, a Democratic socialist, met with Donald Trump in the Oval Office, it wasn't supposed to go well.
The president has been repeatedly referring to him as a communist.
But then...
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor. The better he does, the happier I am. We're going to be helping him to make everybody's dream come true.
People started looking at me like I was a fortune teller, like I had somehow told the future, and I started believing it.
Something strange is happening in New York City. A new group of voters is emerging, and they're quietly challenging our most basic assumptions about politics.
What box would you put me in? I wouldn't say really any box at this point.
In 2024, New York shifted to the right, more than it had in decades. Just a year later, the city swung back to the left, electing its first ever socialist mayor. But here's where it gets weird. Some of the same voters were part of both waves.
A lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm okay with that.
If politics is all about which team you're on, this kind of thing isn't supposed to happen.
I mean, did you see the guy who has the MAGA from Mamdani hat?
So who are these voters? What are they after? Are they just outliers? Or are they a preview of whatever comes next? I'm just trying to figure out what's up with these highly weird election results. How you doing?
What's up, man?
You got thoughts on these two?
Let's talk Trump and
Mamdani.
who the fuck is that?
Finding Trump to Mamdani voters was never going to be easy. You got thoughts on Trump and Mamdani? According to exit polls, about 1 in 10 Trump voters in New York also voted for Mamdani.
Hi, guys.
Which may not sound like a lot, but in politics, those kind of margins can swing elections.
Quick question, I got 5 minutes.
1 in 10 New Yorkers who went for Trump also voted for Mamdani. Like, how do you make sense of that?
I have no idea. I definitely did not. It does not make sense.
Time out. So basically, you're a hypocrite at that point. Like, I mean, if you did, there's something that you got to screw loose.
So when I go, MAGA for Mamdani makes me cry. My friend who's a Republican goes, that's the line I like. MAGA for Mamdani makes me cry.
Ron Barba is an actor, a stock trader, and the unelected leader of MAGA for Mamdani. I think a lot of people, right from the jump, they look at MAGA for Mamdani and it's confusing.
That was the most beautiful thing. When I showed up at the rally, is to see the faces.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
Boom, a home run right from the get-go.
We had someone come to our Forest Hills rally with a hat that said MAGA Mamdani.
Different news outlets asking me questions about it.
Literally, that's one of those moments where I was like, is this AI or not? Because you never know these days, but he's real, right? Yeah, yes, this is real.
People taking pictures with me immediately, and people started commenting, this guy's sick, this guy can't be MAGA, what am I looking at? I don't know why it was natural to me. That is where you could go do the psychological, analysis of me.
It's easy to dismiss Ron as an outlier. And in a way, he is. Most Trump to Mamdani voters live in working-class immigrant communities across the city. And many belong to a group that the Democratic Party has been losing for years. What's up, brother? Young men.
I was not born here. I was from Sri Lanka. I just became a citizen. So.
Hey, congratulations. If you were a citizen, would you have voted for Donald Trump?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you voted for Mamdani?
Yeah, Mamdani, yeah, obviously.
What's up with that? Help us understand that.
I mean, they both want the same thing, affordability.
Affordability. Everybody's talking about it. And in New York, it's impossible to ignore.
New York is expensive as fuck. Let's start with that.
Comes to America first and being for the people, I don't think...
Got some work to do?
Yeah, I think we have plenty of work to do, personally.
Christian first crossed paths with Zoran 2 years ago after a heavy storm.
A Democratic Party that puts Medicare for all at the forefront of the conversation wins all of these guys. the Democrats' inability to entertain any fucking what they consider radical agenda items is the reason why people like Trump keep winning.
Flooded his kitchen.
So my roof started leaking. For about 3 months, I would ask my landlord to please fix it. He didn't want to do it because...
He's a landlord?
Yeah, he's just a landlord. Kept calling 311, which is like the city hotline for help, and no one ever responded to me.
But then, Christian called up Zoran's office.
A couple days later, an inspector actually came, cited a couple safety violations, and because of the fines that the landlord received, he was forced to fix my leak and provide me more heat. Whoa. And that was the first time a politician actually did something for me. I would say when that happened, Zoran, he really earned my respect. He just caught my eye in general. He was polling at like less than 1% when he started running at the beginning.
I need you to understand something. People look to this and go, well, this guy's a fucking idiot. And, you know, there is some inconsistencies in his worldview. Obviously, he's still wearing a fucking freedom shirt. You know, not the smartest guy. But many people aren't. But you know what happened in that situation? He regained confidence in the government. He regained confidence in the government doing what it's supposed to do. And when Democrats are too busy trying to fucking win elections by the slimmest margins possible, when they refuse to do the fucking work necessary to cause people to understand, like, this is why the government's supposed to exist, for you, the people, not for the companies, the corporations, or the landlord. You will always gain people's confidence back. Any argument that revolves around dumbass culture war issues that doesn't revolve around this is a losing argument for the Dems. That's it.
Beginning of 2024. And during that first Democratic debate, there was a question that was asked.
The first foreign visit by a mayor of New York is always considered.
And this is the other side of the story. Medicare for all and fuck Israel. If you're a pro Medicare for all and fuck Israel guy, you will win. Last month, Brody got mentioned in the fucking debate. I know. His last-ditch effort Andrew Cuomo's last-ditch effort for the month leading up to the election was to basically tie him to me and consistently keep saying, like, over and over again that Hasan is a terrorist, Zoran Mamdani is a terrorist, they love Hamas, over and over again. And yes, Andrew Cuomo brought up Zoran Mamdani and his possible connections to 9/11 more than even fucking Curtis Lewa did. And Curtis Lewa was the Republican. Andrew Cuomo did a whole fucking press conference about me on 9/11. Are we forgetting that? Yes, as Chatter says, which is funny because 95% of New Yorkers don't know who the fuck you are. Exactly. It was a perfect example of how extremely online and how stupid the consultants were in Cuomo's corner.
It's more of like a class war, regardless of your political identity, race, religion, gender. The middle class is shrinking, becoming obsolete.
Yeah, maybe Chatter wasn't there.
The assemblyman will not denounce Hamas. The assemblyman will not denounce Hasan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11. The assemblyman just said in his response, well, it depends on occupation. That is code, meaning that Israel does not have a right to exist as a Jewish state, which he has never acknowledged.
Zoran versus landlords. A few days after Zoran announced the rental ripoffs hearings, they repainted my whole building, Lamont. I'll be honest. At first, I thought it was a funny coincidence, but today they replaced our front doors. They've had the same doors for at least 10 years. If you have the means, please consider donating to Dooney and our family. It's awesome. I remember thinking you had such an ego for saying he would mention you. Yeah, I knew he was going to. And so did his team, for the record. We can speak out about it now. They knew that that was coming. We knew that that was coming. You're welcome. I'm shaking you. Someone leaked it? No, they just know they're smart. I mean, I suspected it as well. Entryism doesn't work, Hasan. Mamdani already abandoned what made people like him. When will we say enough is enough? The Democrats are here to stop change. They are the defense for the Republicans to attack. Yeah, I don't really care. I am a liberal, anti-revolutionary dick rider and a fake social democrat. I'm actually a social fascist. I don't fucking care, chatter. You're based. You're super based. Okay, you got it. I hate having to explain over and over again that you have to work within what is available to you to make people's lives better. If you find that to be defeatist, and, you know, build the vanguard. Build the vanguard now. Don't wait for tomorrow. Build it today, okay? It is in your hands now, my child. Like, in the first 15 days, or 17 days now, Zoran has done a fuck ton. The only time where I thought it was, like, shitty, and I still am cognizant of the Jessica Tisch police commissioner issue, right? That's like one of the major areas of concern. And also what he said about the protest outside the synagogue was not great. I think it was a misstep in general to even address, like, to ever lean into cynical, silly ass pro-Israel talking points that have you addressing what the protesters are saying and not what they're protesting, right? Having said that, okay, in the first 17 days, he's done a fuck ton. Like, he got childcare through, like, the first week. And it's very obvious that that Albany is trying to play ball with Zoran. He's delivering. I hope he's a fighter. I think he is. I mean, so far, you know, I definitely have my issues with some of the things that he's doing. But even with, like, the protesters, even when that was a misstep, to hyper-focus on the protesters rather than what they were protesting, right? Making that the conversation, I think, is always a fucking misstep. He literally turned around and with Letitia James, the Attorney General, clapped Beitar. So I'll take it. If that's the give and take, not bad. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, looking ass motherfucker. He just, Beitar is gone. Bye-bye, Beitar. Bye-bye. Little sleight of hand there. 1 week he's like, oh yeah, I can't. 1 week he goes, oh man, Hamas, I can't believe the protesters are saying, that they support Hamas. But isn't that the exact same argument the mayor and all the establishment Dems make all the time? I don't think a lot of you guys understand. I understand that Democrats still have to operate within the confines of permissibility, within the confines of what is acceptable. My argument against the Democrats is that they don't do that. Okay? They don't do shit. Like Jacob Frey, I'm talking about Jacob Frey. He defeated Omar Fateh. Omar Fateh was my guy. I wanted Omar Fateh to win. Okay? But now that Jacob Frey is the mayor, I'm still urging Jacob Frey to do something. Right? Activate local law enforcement to protect his own constituents. My anger is that he's not doing that. My demand isn't Jacob Frey take up arms and start fucking shooting ICE agents or something. I'm just asking him to do something that is well within the confines of acceptability. Okay? My problem with the Democrats is that they don't even do the things that they could do to oppose the Trump administration. Do you get it? You have to work within the system. Don't take the bait. Don't do anything. That's the reason why I gave you an example of a thing that Zoran did that I think was bad, and gave you an example of what Zoran did that was good. Right? But then you seem to make that argument in favor of entryism, don't you? Not trolling genuinely. Yes, I am an advocate for entryism. I've always been an advocate for entryism. I say it all the time. It's not the end all be all, and it's not going to actually, save this country. But in the interim, you have to organize with where the people are at, okay? And unfortunately for us in the United States of America, the closest out of the two-party duopoly is the Democratic Party. And in the absence of any sort of socialist organizing that is viable, okay, that is a viable contender, you have to organize and continue proving your work. Zoran Mamdani calling himself an out-and-about socialist is good. Okay, it's good. Because now people think, well, that means it's a different kind of Democrat, right? Kaya, place. I swear to God, she lays down behind me, and then slowly but surely she comes closer and closer to my chair. I don't know why. I don't know why this is. But then why not do literally everything we can to make that option viable? This is how you make that option viable. In a country where most people up until recently thought socialism meant you should be shot and killed, you're basically a Nazi, if not worse. This is how you make that option viable. How many times do I have to fucking explain this? My theory is that large swaths of MAGA voters are deeply pro-socialism. They don't know what socialism means because their only news source is Fox News. Whenever they listen to someone like Bernie or Mamdani, they love it. They just don't seem to identify it as democratic socialism. They see it as what it is, a pursuit of equity in a broken system. He's not listening. Move on, please. Don't tase your dog. You can't stop me. I'm going to keep tasing my dog. Bzz, bzz, bzz. How do you both acknowledge that the Dems uphold empire, the foreign policy is uniparty? How do you justify voting for that? I can't justify it anymore. Then don't fucking vote for the uniparty Democrats, okay? I have spent a good deal of time explaining my mechanism of change, okay? What I believe is the most viable path forward. At best, what the American government, and it's like, in the best scenario going forward, the American government steps out of the way, focuses on its own infrastructure, scales back dramatically on all of its imperial endeavors. Okay? That's it. In the absence of an anti-imperialist third party that is viable, which will most likely never happen because then you arrive at the labor aristocracy argument, this is the best path forward. This doesn't mean it's the end all be all. This doesn't mean that it's going to, it doesn't even mean it's going to happen, but that's the future that I'm trying to move this country in the direction of. Not be a just read theory, Andy, but on this topic is alright. I encourage Chad to read Lenin's pamphlet, Should We Participate in Bourgeois Parliament? The point on this paper, which is 4 pages, is that meeting people where they are. I know, I've read it before, and people get really mad at me, and they say, oh my God, you're basically Vosh. You're saying Lenin would demand you vote for the Democrats. That's not what I'm saying. It will give you context to this chat. I have. I talked about it. I've read it. I've read it on stream. Well, I read the other version of this. Kai reads to his audience more than you, let's be honest. Anyway. Every little Yeah, left-wing communism and infantile disorder is what I read to the chat. Oh, not you, chat. Oh, well, you're right. Chat should read it. JD Vance supported U.S. strikes on Iran this week and reasoned that Trump had to enforce his own red line. Per sources, it was a surprise role reversal for a politician who built his identity on opposing Middle East wars with a loose connection to core U.S. interests. Other Trump advisors urged caution, including Steve Witkoff and Susie Wiles. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent argued for waiting and letting economic sanctions on Iran work. But everyone told me that America's economic sanctions on Iran had no part to play in the mass discontent that Iranians are experiencing. So why is it that their assessment internally is that it is actually succeeding? It's so surprising to me. For like the past couple of weeks, that's what everyone has been saying, right? Huh. Why is the Treasury Secretary weighing in? What do you mean? He's responsible for maintaining the sanctions. A key factor driving Trump's reluctance was Israel's reluctance. Israel was vulnerable due to the absence of major U.S. military assets, which Israel has relied on. Dude, everything that I said in my assessment as to why Trump is not striking Iran yet is now being reported on only a couple days after. I said it. I said all of this shit, word for word. I fucking called it. Of course, Israel loves striking Iran. They nut on that. That's what they want. They want it all the time, except for when there aren't enough American troops in the region, American assets in the region that can defend Israel, because they're a bunch of fucking cowards. Anyway, let's get back to third way neoliberalism.
Approach is the way Democrats win. Hear me out. Since 1980, Democrats have only won the White House once without winning a supermajority of moderate voters nationwide. So what does that actually mean for us? Mamdani won just 36% of the moderate vote. Take that and extrapolate it nationwide, and the results are bad. Like, bad, bad. Compare that to moderates like Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger.
It's just real winners, honestly. Real charismatic figures we'll be hearing quite a bit from.
Who won more than 60% of the moderate vote. Just look what happens when you apply those margins of victory nationwide. That's the difference between electoral ruin and renewal. Are you ready?
Hi, it's us, the centrist establishment that's been running the Democratic Party and produced every Dem nominee in recent history. Things are going really great for us, right? So we have some advice for how Dems can keep up our awesome win record in 2028. Yep. It's incredible that these guys still get to chirp and they haven't been like ritualistically humiliated and pushed out of every orifice of polite society, because this is what the donors want. And because it's what the donors want, they keep churning out the same fucking dumbass propaganda. Here is the proof that this kind of shit is stupid.
Income inequality is getting larger and larger by the year. People are going to unite and then say, we're done with this.
For too long in our city, freedom has belonged only to those who can afford to buy it. Our city hall will change that.
That, or we're going to need to send a lot more young men to Tokyo.
Japan had changed me in many ways, because if I didn't go there, I don't know how I would be politically, I don't know where I would be in my life. I've always thought like money would buy happiness and all this stuff. And then I realized there's more to life, and how in a country like Japan or some of the Scandinavian countries, they don't have to worry about bills as much. They don't have to worry about medical debt. I got to see this social safety net, and I wish folks could go there and see firsthand and then come back and call me a...
It really is white boy Mecca, bro. This dude went to Hajj. This dude went to Hajj for white men and came back with a renewed interest in... I mean, he didn't even go to a socialist country. He just went to a country with like modest social safety nets, and that was enough. Because when you're in America and you go to any country, no matter how many issues exist in said country, it's still going to be infinitely better in comparison to the United States of America.
Communist.